Good morning. Thought I'd do this particular broadcast this morning, contemplating the picture that have in regard to this. It says Revolve Evolve 2020, aspirational, intentional item for individuals who want to really take their life to the next level, something that we have in mind that we will do as we go forward in regard to 2020, as we go forward in regard to 2020. And I'm doing this on this day. I'm actually doing this as I do a bit of exercise here on the treadmill. 2020 will be my 68th year of life by the grace of God. I want to do a few bits of exercise here on the treadmill from time to time. And so as I think about this, I think about the journey that I've had in life, what I've been doing and what I've done. You may know that I'm presently in a program at the Walden University, it is called, and preparing, actually in the midst of writing what is called a prospectus, which comes at the end of doing a set of courses that are in the field of industrial organizational psychology. And the dissertation that I'm writing is in that particular field and dealing with coaching, executive coaching. Already, I am an individual certified with the John Maxwell Group School of Coaching and have gone through that. I've been a John Maxwell coach for a number of years now. And of course, a minister. Have been a minister, ordained minister. I am now ordained originally in 1989, and then have been a minister really from 1982, and official minister. Graduated from school that year. Was picked up, as we say, by a conference and stayed in that conference for about 15 years, and then started an independent church. So there has been a journey, and we've been talking with you about this inner journey of self-awareness to become one's authentic self. This inner journey of self-awareness to become one's authentic self. And that's the journey that I personally am taking, and it's a journey of discovery about who one is at one's core, who a person is at one's core. And the journey is a fascinating journey, because what takes place in the journey is you begin to understand that things are processed by you from the inside. Things are processed. Every person is looking out of him or herself. Every person, no matter what you take in or seemingly take in to you by your senses, you're processing that material inside. You're processing that according to your experiences, according to your education, according to many things that you received and are still receiving on a subconscious level. And then you are bringing it back into your conscious thoughts, perhaps. You may still be functioning on a subconscious level. In other words, reacting and not responding to life. You may still be functioning on a subconscious level, like it's instinctual. Somebody hits you, you simply hit them back. Stimulus response type thing is animal-like behavior. No matter how old you are, no matter how young you are, you could still be functioning on that level. And that's why society, in a certain kind of way, continues on as it has been over the course of millennia. Because people are hesitant to change. Hesitant to change. An individual is hesitant to change. I have been hesitant to change in my own growth and process. It takes a great deal of education to change, and each change to be noticeable so many times, especially depending on how quickly that change takes place, can be like a quantum leap that takes place in the mind, in the heart, in one's life. And so that's what this inner journey is about, is that process of really preparing a person to make that quantum leap of change, that massive change that takes place, that makes all the difference in one's life. As to when people lure a person in, so to speak, a beta person, they are not really calling the person other than the fact that there's something inside that individual, some need, according to Abraham Maslow, that causes that person to respond to that. And so all people who are seeking to benefit others are really looking for the people that they can benefit. The individuals that respond because they are ready at that particular moment to respond to what is being given to them, what is being produced. And that's the same thing that I'm in the process of doing as well, is looking for, fishing for, planting for those individuals who respond. Who are the people? Who are the people? Today, and one of the reasons that I'm here is this is the place that I'm in, really, is sort of like a middle ground between what I called mildly metaphysical. There is a middle ground that I'm in a certain type of way. It's a bridge because I have understood things, having been taught as a minister initially, to just see the Bible in a particular way. That way being that I read the text, I understood the text, the Bible itself, to be strictly historical fact. Like it said at one point, the idea was that Bishop Ussher had developed what was called a 6,000-year chronology of the biblical history, and that the earth was supposedly have existed for 6,000 years. And then there would be a 7,000 year that would take place. And this was preached a great deal. You can look it up online now, of course. You can look it up. Preached a great deal about the 1,000 years of bliss. Call it by whatever name it was. Call it by whatever name you want. It was preached. It would be 1,000 years. And this was preached more so prior to the year 2000. Prior to the year 2000. Because the year 2000 was supposed to have been the 7,000 year that was going to take place at that point. And there was a whole lot of angst, if you will, fear, if you will, in regard to what the year 2000 was going to be. And people preached it as a type of end of the world type experience. Well, I'm one of those ones who lived through that particular experience. And guess what? This will be 2020 and we're still here. And so that theory is not preached as much. There are still those who are saying basically that Jesus is coming tomorrow, or that the world will end tomorrow, or that nuclear war will end in a few more days. All of this stuff. There are always these threats of mass global destruction that is taking place. But if the leaders of this world are wise enough to govern the world, surely they understood what they call MAD, mutually assured destruction. And beat their chests as they will, they understand the possibility of mutually assured destruction, which means that there are enough individuals that have nuclear weapons and all of the other types of destructive forces that they can unleash, that if one person, whether it's a rogue nation, a rogue group or not, but if one foolish individual unleashes something on one country, you could end up with nuclear weapons moving quickly from nation to nation to nation, detonating in the world, which could bring about mutually assured destruction. So no matter how people stand on the stage and say that they are the strongest, the mightiest, it doesn't take the strongest, the mightiest to destroy the entire planet. And those who rule must be intelligent enough, spiritual enough, whatever it may be, emotionally stable enough to know there's a need to live together. As one prophet of the past has said, we will learn to live together as brothers, or we shall all perish as fools. And so we must understand that. We're all God's people. We're all made in the image of God, and God is one. And we can call whatever we have as a spiritual foundation by any name that we may like. But we are all children of the one God. We're all made in the one image. And so this whole piece of the inner journey of self-awareness to become one's authentic self is to become knowledgeable of the fact that we're made in that image. And we're not just responding or reacting to life. We have something within us that allows us to take something in on an emotional level, take something in on the intellectual level, take something in on a physical level, whether it is by taste or touch or whatever it may be, sight, all of these senses that we have, and put that all together consciously and make a decision for the entire body, mind, and spirit. That's what it means to be. That's what it means to be self-aware, is that you understand. When you are emotionally intelligent, you also understand what it means that what you are feeling impacts what others are feeling. And you're conscious of their feelings as well. You take into consideration your impact and your influence on other individuals. What you're saying, what you're doing, how you're acting in the world. And the wise ones of the world, the wise ones, are not seeking ultimately to pit one group of people against another. Those people like that, again, who are doing that kind of thing, are still animal-like. There are no superior races. No matter what individuals may say, no matter how much history has been hidden from the eyes of the masses, there are no superior races on this earth. None now. None now. None now. No superior races. There have been individuals who have been on this planet who have exhibited great intellectual ability. And beyond that, when we say intellect, there's something else that is going on beyond just simply what we would call intellect. There's no question about it that people like Nikola Tesla and others, Edison and others, these individuals have pushed the boundaries of the intellect in their day. These individuals have been in touch with something that seemingly is beyond the confines of this earth. There's no question about it. That they have been in touch not only with themselves, which is a universe within, but they seemingly have been in touch with something that is beyond even this planet. And of late, we have heard and seen that Navy test pilots have seen and have been seeing for years that there is something intelligent flying in the skies above this earth beyond the humans. There's something. And we have had enough movies and everything else that basically have said this for years. Whether it was H.G. Wells, the War of the Worlds type thing, or The Day the Earth Stood Still, or the Star Wars type trilogies, or the various other things that have taken place. You may remember, if you're old enough, when we had this show that had this Will Smith, not Will Smith idea, but this Mr. Smith idea. I forget the name of the particular show, but it had a cast of characters who had gone to another planet or were on a spaceship, and this whole piece in regard to that. There was one show called Lost in Space. It may have been that show. But all of these have portended to the idea that there is an intelligence beyond what we have here. Transformers, another one of those types of shows. Star Trek, one of my favorites type of shows that speak of that. And so we can come to understand that there's something that is in this universe beyond. Why would there be this millions and perhaps billions of known or seen planets and asteroids and different types of bodies that are in the skies, in the cosmos, in the universe, beyond what we see, beyond what is here on this earth. So something is going on beyond where we are. And so when I say this aspect of mildly metaphysical, is really saying that beyond what I know, there is something else. And that includes beyond what I know today, there's something more to know. Because there's a period of time beyond what I knew, say when I was 10, there was more to know. Beyond what I knew when I was 15, there was more to know. Beyond what I knew when I was 20, there was more to know. Beyond what I knew when I was 30, there was more to know. Beyond what I know at my present age, there is still more to know. And that does not mean that there are not others on this planet walking on 2 feet who know more than I know, or that there are others who know more than I know. And I embrace that idea. And so I'm journeying to understand, to know, to process that which I have sensed in a moment. And as the great Emerson said, that which we grasp for a moment in our dreams, that which we grasp for a moment in our thoughts, we place greater reality on it than that which we live for hours within. And that's has to do with things that I've seen. I've seen, I've felt, I've had a thought about something I don't think I've ever said to an individual, but let me say to you that I've had these experiences in my life where I dreamed them of something in which there were visitations, if you will. When I was young, I was swinging on a swing that was in my backyard, young at that time. And I was swinging it on this swing. The swing I had built, it was on a tree, a pecan tree that was in my backyard. We had 3 such trees. Where I built this tree on one of the limbs, it was over the root, a protruding out of the ground, over a limb that was protruding, or root that was protruding out of the ground. And one day, as I was swinging, that swing broke. and I fell to the ground on my back onto that protruding root. I fell to the ground. When I fell to the ground, I initially lay there. I was hurt and in great pain. What I recall, and maybe it was just a shock, but let me not minimize it like that. What I recall was that something or someone picked me up and carried me to my bed. It placed me inside of a container that was tailor-made for my body, and I could not move. And in that container, some way, my back, my spine was allowed to heal. That is either a dream or an occurrence that occurred. There are pictures that I have seen like those that are in the movies, such as Harriet Tubman and Black Panther, where the individual has visions or goes into an alternate realm. Those pictures depict things that I know not only have I had, but others have had as well. So I'm aware that there is something that is unique and special about those things. I am aware of those things. I've had various things. When I'm at Howard University, there's a period of time when I actually have a situation in which I just lose consciousness, as I say, and then I wake up. The time before I lost consciousness, what occurred was my head felt like it was exploding, and it just hurt, and then like it just burst. I was studying at an intense rate. The requirement was that we read something like 5,000 pages. I was not a speed reader, so I was reading in a normal way and making sure I got that information, was able to process it, talk about it when I came to class, and all of those types of things. And the same thing occurs when I'm at a school called Andrews University. And we've got to read. We've got to do the material. There's no way that you can not do the material. And so what occurs at those points in times is that in processing the information, my head was hurting. As I said, it felt like it exploded. And I said at one point that Spirit said to me, God said to me, let me open your head so that, open your mind so that I can pour more into it. The great Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, when I sat with him, said to me, reverse that, really. He did not use those words, but he simply said that Spirit was saying, let me open you up so that I can come forth from within you. You see, Spirit is already within every one of us. The Bible declares that we are sons and daughters of God. It declares that we are the temple of the Holy Spirit. It declares that we are made in God's image. And everywhere we look, we are reinforced with that idea, but we actually so many times shut it out. The ancients believe this more so than those of us today. And so there is this idea that I accept to this day that I am a child of God. Not based on anything that I have done, but based on the fact that I am, that I be, and that each person that is here on this earth is a child of God. Made in God's image. I don't mean a physical likeness, though individuals seek to make God into like a big person. God is not, in my estimation, a big person. The image of God is not that God is a big person, but it has to do with the aspect of God being a mind, a set of principles and ideas, that God has a set of values by which he runs the universe, or by which the universe runs. God is both the creator and the creation. David said there was no place that he could go from the presence of God. All is God. God is omnipresent. God is omnipotent, all present everywhere. God is all powerful. God is all knowing. God is all activity. There's only God. And again, that is part of the self-awareness experience, is that when one become aware that the basic identity of that individual, of myself, of you, the basic awareness is that God is, I am. God is, I am. The text says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord is one." There's always just one. And so this entire process that we're working with, has to do this. And so when we talk about revolve, evolve, what I'm really talking about is each time you go around, so to speak, and evolve, gain a level of knowing, a level of knowledge, a level of experience, a level of training. Each time you do that, you increase your understanding of who God is, which increases your understanding of who you are. And the journey is not one and done. That's not that journey. That's not this journey. The journey, according to the Apostle Paul, he got to the point through his experiences, he said, "I die daily." And it feels like a kind of death-like experience, because things that seemingly had been limitation at one level are no longer limitation. It's like a person who would be walking and then they get a bicycle and they think that's great. And then they get a car and they think that's great. But then they learn that they can get in the airplane or fly an airplane and they think that's great. And then they get a rocket, like Edgar Mitchell and others. And they move outside of the atmosphere of the entire earth. And they see that as great. What more is there in the realm of experience for you? Just using that as a metaphor, what more is there? For a butterfly, first a cocoon and you're crawling over grass. You're a worm, but you're crawling over grass. You're getting somewhere, but you're crawling over grass. But you go into the chrysalis experience and you transform. You transform. You do this inner journey of self-awareness. You transform, and rather than it just being a story somebody else told you, you actually go through that process. You become the butterfly. Or you take the hero's journey. Or you take the journey of Luke Skywalker, who moves from being just an individual on the little farm with the scooter to being a skywalker. From thought to thought, from planet to planet. What's the difference in the two? What's the difference in the two? When you learn how to travel the universe. I invite you again to the inner journey of self-awareness, to become your authentic self, to know the powers that are resident within you, or if you put it in the terms of the Star Wars movie, to know how to use your light. Or if you put it in the terms of the Black Panther movie, you will know the powers that come with the suit that you wear. You know those powers. For now, God bless you. Take care. Process this. Let it work for you. Bye-bye.